Hi, my name is Paul Harris. I'm faculty lead for REDCap here at Vanderbilt. Really excited about being part of REDCap Con Hispano Virtual 2025 Symposium. Many thanks to the organizers and many thanks to the participants who are here with us joining. So I want to kind of give a reminder first about the main goals that we've had for REDCap over the years. We started REDCap here at Vanderbilt about 20 years ago, and our primary goal was really simple: give research teams an easy way to do the right thing for their data management needs. A little bit later, as we started sharing the platform with others, we realized this could be the organization and the community around those adopting REDCap could very well be a professional home for clinical and research informatics professionals. So both of those will come through a little bit as we move forward, but I'm going to start with the first one. Making it easier for research teams to do their job. 2024 was one of our busiest and most productive years on record with REDCap. We started early in the year with release and refinement of a framework that we call the consortium-supported rapid validation model. This is for institutions that want to do formal validation on the REDCap installation, usually those that are trying to meet requirements for 21 CFR Part 11 standards from the FDA for FDA trials. Throughout the year, we did a lot of work with MyCap, which is a sister platform to REDCap, designed specifically to support studies and trials where we want frequent interactions with participants. So I won't bore you with the details of this. You can find them on the community website, but we did release a number of different features and functions, and we've seen that platform really grow over the last year. eConsent 2.0 was basically a recognition that since we released the first eConsent module in REDCap just before COVID, we've learned a lot of lessons. I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 million consent transactions that happened across all REDCap consortium sites. And as part of that, we saw many different use cases, and some of those use cases requiring more complex features and functions than we had in our original version. So we put all of those together into eConsent 2.0 and released it last year. And then a little bit later, we worked on releasing what we call the advanced randomization framework. REDCap has had randomization for a long time, but as we looked across the spectrum of individuals and institutions and data coordinating centers that were using the platform, we realized people were starting to hack the randomization framework because it just wasn't complex enough. So we had a number of different key experts and key informants that came together to help us define requirements. Big shout out to Luke Stevens in Australia for doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the programming and thought exercises around this, as well as, of course, Rob Taylor on our team here at Vanderbilt. And then finally, we didn't quite get this released in 2024, but we did in January of 2025 released what I'll call Generative AI 1.0, some features and functions that you can turn on if you have REDCap pointing at a secure and private generative AI large language model. What's next in REDCap? We're working a lot in decentralized trials and hybrid trials because that's where science is taking us. We're working a lot on thinking about a consortium model for training of end users. We're looking deeply into an integration where we may be able to reduce participant compensation burden on both the side of the participant as well as the research team and the Department of Finance team. We're looking at extending our EHR, or electronic health record data mapping and transaction tools, into an exciting new space where participants can sort of log into their local electronic health record patient portal and give permission there to provide data directly to a REDCap supported project, and of course more AI. Speaking of more AI, yeah, we had a conference. This is sort of, rolling over into the value and the consortium, and that professional home for us all. We've released that module that I mentioned back in January, but even as early as last month, we got a pseudo working group together. We're not quite a working group yet, but a pseudo working group that will probably turn into a working group around helping inform what else we're going to do in AI. I won't bore you with a lot of details here, but we got really good confirmation and ideation on two things that we're working now, and we expect to be in that next version, whatever that's called, in 2025. So I just want to give a little bit of verbiage or narrative rather around this slide, because I love this slide. It talks about the value of having that consortium and that platform and that professional home. This infinity diagram was part of a manuscript that we wrote a number of years ago, I think back in 2019, describing the consortium. But if you kind of start down at the bottom left-hand corner with leadership, we're always listening, we're always learning, and we're always trying to find funding to prioritize building the next things in REDCap. Once those requirements are set, then we build them and we test them, we disseminate them, usually here at Vanderbilt first, and then we roll them out to the consortium. At that point, the power is in the hands of the informatics teams out there in the consortium. We're on the bottom right-hand side of the infinity diagram. Of course, they learn, they train, and they support those new features and functions that come out. And then finally, those researchers that are using them both at Vanderbilt and across the consortium, that when you start using systems, people will tell you how to make them better. And so they do just that. They use them in very interesting and innovative ways, which require more functionality. And that's when we sort of enter back into the listen and learn part of that diagram. I could have saved a lot of time by just saying used systems get better, because that's really what happens, and that's the power of the REDCap consortium and how the platform grows. The consortium is very healthy. We should be hitting, I would say, 8,000 institutions by the end of the year across 160 or more countries, and you can see some of the other statistics there. Really proud of the consortia piece of this. This is a picture of the 2024 REDCapCon North American Conference in St. Pete, Florida, and everybody's welcome to these, by the way, all of the regional consortia, but that's one of the regional consortia. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Australian REDCap Forum, the REDCap Africa efforts in this in creating and putting on a conference every year, the Japan REDCap Consortia, and the Latin American and Brazilian consortia. But most of all, I want to say thanks today for the REDCap Con Hispano, which is typically virtual. Big thanks to all of those folks, especially on my team, from Michelle Fernandez. So I'm going to close with just saying that I think we're still on track. We're doing well and growing in all of the right ways. I think we're doing a good job as a consortium, giving research teams an easy way to do what they want and what they need. And we're also very much a professional home for professionals like ourselves. I love this quote by Yelena Frigent here in Sydney, Australia. When we were talking recently in the REDCap community communications forum about the REDCap community itself, Yelena had this quote: "This is the space which remind us that science and kindness and collaboration matter, and in combination create enormous positive change in the world." I couldn't say it any better. I couldn't say it any different. So we'll just leave that final word with Yelena. I want to thank our team at Vanderbilt, especially Michelle Fernandez, who's up there on the top right, top left with her cape. And also want to thank Rob Taylor on the left here and Brenda Miner on the right as we were gathered together and being a little bit silly for our 20th anniversary pictures. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you for allowing me to participate, and really look forward to hearing about the success of REDCap Hispano 2025.